Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Utropeia podcast. It's story time. This is a new segment. A new segment. It's brand new. It's a new moon. Ooh, that's the darkest of moons. Other than an eclipse, which you can watch
also
on
that
the
twilight.
That's the
Unless
twilight.
it's a total eclipse of the heart, then you have to turn around, bright eyes.
Start from the start. Total eclipse of the heart. But this is something new. I thought it would be fun for us to maybe do a writing prompt, or it could be anything. It could be like a song or a comic or whatever you want to kind of work on. This is kind of like almost putting into practice, like utilizing the tropes, maybe trying to get a little creative with stuff, because we can talk on the podcast and we love doing it. Thank you for listening to Utropeia podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. But you know, this is just a little light, fun stuff. It's very heavily influenced from fantasy fiction. If you don't know them, I will link to them. It's a very fun podcast, and it's a little bit of inspiration for how we kind of started on this. But here I go again on my own. This is a story, and I'm gonna title it Mega Murderman Mansion.
I love this already.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
3 thumbs up. One of them's a toe. Okay, here we go. From high on top of Don't Go There Hill, in the suburbs of Prophecy Ridge, in the middle of Superstition Road, there's a house known as Mega Murderman Mansion. Yeah, the homes are reasonably priced, and the schools are great, but the gated community here isn't to keep people out. Pause for dramatic effect. It's to create an air of elitism. And who of all people could possibly be here in this cul-de-sac of creepy but Tim Stretchman, the stretchy powered guy.
Glad Tim came back.
Yeah, Tim's back. That's right. You can use characters in the podcast. It could even be about one of the hosts. Who knows? Tim Stretchman, the stretchy powered guy who just doesn't give 2 shits about your problems. Hashtag G's. Tim slowly and annoyingly as possible stretched his loud ass legs all the way up to the front of the mansion. From his pocket, he pulled out a letter he received in the mail 2 days ago about a challenge for anyone that spends the night in the house to get $1 million, and a nice letter from the Muppet of their choice. Tim didn't give a shit about the money, but he wasn't going to pass up any opportunity to let a letter from Kermit validating the horrible, crippling mirage of a bleak and depressing existence that he and his parents decidedly to painstakingly label his life.
God.
Woo! Bad times for Tim. He's got to know. He's got to get that validation from Kermit. He's the only one. Tim opened the door with a creak. Then he closed the door, and then opened it up 4 more times, extending the creaking sound for as long as he possibly could each time afterwards. Tim was a real fucker like that. In the next room sat 3 people who probably wanted money or something. They all looked at Tim like he was some kind of guy to record them on film without their permission, which he was doing with his roommate's camera that he totally took without asking.
What a dick.
Yeah, dude.
He's got a backstory like Skeletor.
Oh, man. Are you recording me? Asked the old man in the chair closest to him. Yeah, whispered Tim as he zoomed in on his face, getting mad detail on his face wrinkles. Hey, you're that stretchy guy who lives in my neighborhood. I see you and your housemates playing frisbee all the time. Could you do some cool stretchy tricks while we all try to find out who could have possibly sent out this offer to stay in this creepy house? What we all have in common and why? Said the down-to-earth looking college girl who had Greek sorority letters spelling out exposition on her hoodie. Yeah, I could do that, said Tim as he pressed the camera further into the old man's cheek, who was disturbed and slightly paralyzed from how awkward and socially unacceptable the current situation was. Everyone watched as Tim continued to be the worst possible person in the house at the time for the next cringeworthy 30 seconds. So are you gonna do some rad stretch tricks and leave that guy alone? Asked the college girl after the third and clearly unimportant person who was in no way going to die in the first die first in the story pried Tim away from the old man. Nah, said Tim, closing the camera and sitting down in an unoccupied seat. You're terrible, sneered the old man. Tim shrugged and sank lower into the couch. Just then, the lights went out, and a loud crash could be heard in the next room. The old man screamed, and was immediately interrupted by an overly sensible but still concerned shout of, "Oh no, it's nighttime, and now none of our electronics work, and I bet we're even locked in the house until sunrise, or we're all dead." This clearly came from the college girl, because her hoodie was also glow in the dark, and no one could ignore the dim green glow of her Greek characters that now read, "Move the plot along." Tim held up a lit torch and passed 3 out to the other members of the house, stretching his arms slowly and as annoyingly as possible, making the making the indescribable yet all too knowable Hanna-Barbera stretch sound. "Where did you get all these?" asked the old man with a quizzical look. Tim shrugged and left the room. The next day, the old man's house would get a postcard of a skull on fire, with the message written in all caps, "I broke the chair's legs off." In the corner... In the corner, he would draw an overly detailed wrinkle dog with an arrow pointing to it, reading, "You as a dog." His wife would burn the card before any other living soul would appreciate how truly terrible and funny this would be to someone in on the context of this joke. I don't even remember writing that.
I like that there's like an inside joke to this story.
Woo. It's good. "Hey, let's split up and search the house," said the third person who clearly had no understanding of how unimportant and painfully expendable he was at this point in time. "Wait, why?" asked the possibly only likable character in the story whose t-shirt now read, "You are dumb." And that's a U letter, R letter, dumb.
Of course.
It has to be. They're Greek characters. Before they could answer, the torch went out, and they were pulled by the leg via an unseen force. His screams of protest could be heard going deeper and deeper into the depths of the house before being pulled down the stairs. "Oh God, no, not the basement! Nothing good is ever down there!" Sickening crunching sound and horrible demon noises echoed from the halls of the terrible old house. The next house over's lights went on, and a woman burst through the window shutters to shake a fist at the mansion. "It is Sunday night, and some people are trying to sleep in the morning. That house is the devil!" She slammed her windows back again, causing instability to the house, resulting in its collapse and immediate foreclosure. No one cared. Cut back to inside the living room, where Tim walks back in on both of the terrified and hauntingly quiet house guests, carrying the torch and holding an actual skeleton on his shoulders. "What happened while I was gone?" asked Tim, dangling the skeleton while moving its jaws up and down to mimic speech like some kind of goddamn skeleton wizard. "That guy just got killed by a demon and you aren't here. You can stretch out and grab anyone you want and just murder them like some kind of murder man in this Mega Murderman Mansion," shouted the college girl, whose t-shirt just spelled R.I.P. like a cartoon graveyard stone. "Yeah, I could have killed that guy," stated Tim bluntly, as he stretched the skeleton closer to the old man as slowly as he could, straining out the annoying and hilarious as fuck stretch sound that his arms made whenever he decided to use them for the most pointless and antagonizing shit.
That poor old man.
But you didn't. We would have heard your terrible stretching sounds if it was you who killed that guy," whimpered the old man barely over the still continuing sound of Tim's arms pushing the skeleton towards him before having the skeleton dropped on him in the corner of the room. "And it would have been hilarious. I think you're just trying to rationalize some terrible thing that just happened which can't be explained by a normal or even Stretchman standards and laws. Since you're so quick to judge, I could turn the tables and guilt trip you into looking like it was you who could have been responsible for killing that guy without even knowing the full situation. But it's cool. Stuff happens, and we're just trying to figure stuff out, you know? Said Tim in the most deadpan way without changing his facial expressions.
He's so apathetic.
I like that he doesn't stretch out anything he has to say.
It's good. Just for now. Well, I guess that's true. Thanks for being level-headed about it. Even if you are practically the worst person I've ever met, complied the only female character in the story, who is also the only relatable person in this entire scenario, as her shirt was just a goofy picture of ice cream, but still stylized like it could still be maybe a Greek house symbol? Anyway, we both know that demon is inside that terrible old man, and that's why I've been a huge jerk to him this entire time, commented Tim out of the side of his mouth. Wait, what? Yeah, that guy's possessed. How could you know something like that? You'd be surprised what you can find out on camera. Wait, I thought the electronics in this house don't work until sunrise or something. Yeah, you just said that. No one checked it out. Oh, well, maybe we should call the police or something? Yeah, probably should. Wait, you should watch the sick vid first. Tim flipped open his camera and showed her the recording of his pressing the camera closer and closer into the old man's face until the words, "I'm a demon," got spelled over and over again on the dude's skin in a slightly lighter tone than the skin itself, which is a pretty cool texture to have on most things. Maybe even demons or dudes that they live in. See? Told you, said Tim. As he...
Yeah.
He was right.
You got us,
fucking
Tim.
got me, Tim. See? Told you, said Tim as he closed the camera, revealing the all-too-cliche fact that the girl was no longer standing next to him, which you could argue makes it look like Tim was crazy the whole time, that no one was in the house with him to begin with, or that she was taken, or that there might be a clever misdirect for the girl to be the demon. Really, it's just an excuse to get Tim alone for the third act of the story so that we can shoehorn in another trope of the protagonist being by himself and that the murderer is somewhere in the house.
I see what he did there.
Writing. Tim sat in the dark for a while, looking through the camera's night vision function. He did several sweeps of the room, and even played around with a few of the distortion filters. Sure, maybe this wasn't the best time to apply the swirly filter to a night vision shot, but Tim wasn't going to let this film turn into a found footage movie without a complete remake and recast. Let Lionsgate film their own bullshit. On the last sweep, Tim stopped at an apple that was placed directly in the middle of the coffee table that he hadn't noticed before. He zoomed in and switched to the stretch filter, the Warhol filter, and even the fisheye lens before going back to normal and zooming out, revealing the entire room was full of apples.
I liked that the first one he went to was the stretch filter, by the way.
You know what? I didn't even realize I was doing that at the time. It's clever. It's good. Thanks, subconscious. Shit, I'm so startled, said Tim in his deadpan voice, which was hard to tell if he was being sarcastic or genuinely startled. Tim is kind of hard to read like that. He made his way out of the apple-filled room and turned a corner, following a trail of ghost blood into the hallway, panning over the portraits on the wall. I don't remember writing ghost blood. What is the story? The first one depicted Manfred Mega Murderman. The next showing the same picture, but with an apple in his hand. The next one was an apple in each hand, and the last one was a monitor with a looping flip box and a backlighting depicting apples falling out of his mouth. Tim zoomed out and pressed the small "Ye Olde Upvote" button at the bottom of the portrait frame on the comment. And on the comment card wrote "LOLs" and put it into the commenting inward box. The OP, or original painter, would see the comment and save it when he learned how to use Ye Olde Internet from beyond the grave. His ghost grandson would have to set it up for him, but in the end, he would feel connected to the social media network that all the young spirits seem to be into these days.
Where is the story
Hold
going?
on. You're gonna like where it goes. I promise. You're gonna love the way you look. Ken's Warehouse sponsoring the podcast. Before entering the door to the basement, Tim turned the camera to the frame just above his mouth and addressed the audience viewing this footage exactly like that scene from that one movie that everyone parodies, but I only found about 2 weeks ago. It's good. Poof. Thanks.
That is good.
Hey, Mom. I wanted to let you know I'm sorry for stealing your tech deck, but I'm not sorry for this. And then he opened the door and flipped the camera in time to show his stretchy-ass hand doing the sickest 50-50 fingerboard grind all the way down the railing with his mom's tech deck that read "Stretch or Die" on the underside of the board.
Does Tim's mother also have stretching powers? I guess.
Maybe. Unconfirmed, but possibly canon. Here we go. The entire time, Offspring's "All I Want" was playing for the handrail that actually took 1 minute and 57 seconds to grind all the way down into the darkness, with his other arm following along with the camera. Yeah. Whole time. It's a good mini episode. I like this episode already. Tim let his hands stay at the bottom of the railing and walked the entire way down with his arms making the annoying stretch sound the whole time as they wound back into place. At first it was funny, then it was annoying, then it was infuriating, then it was admirable, and then it was the funniest fucking thing that had happened all night. That's how it works.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it works.
That's a very accurate portrayal, actually.
Hashtag truth. The bottom of the stairs, Tim finally turned on the light and looked over to the corner of the room. The old man was just standing there, facing the corner, not moving and not doing a single thing, as Tim just stood there making fart noises for 45 minutes. What a fucker. After a particularly loud and punctual one, the old man screamed with the pain and torment of 1,000 souls and said in a voice far away and filled with hate, "Oh, my devil and sweet merciful hell, you are the worst thing I have ever met. Just get the fuck out and I will pay you the goddamn money you came here for in the first place." Tim paused after he said that and made one more fart sound. Fucking damn it! Fucking damn it! And the Muppet letter, just please leave and don't make another stupid noise or do anything else. You are honestly the worst thing that has ever happened to me. Tim stood there in silence for another 45 minutes, filming the sobbing, demon-filled old man. I walked back up the stairs without saying a single thing. The demon had a lot to learn about tormenting souls, but it was that last 45 minutes of silence that probably hurt the most out of everything that had happened to him in his entire evil existence. But to Tim, that was just something dumb that happened to him. Just a dumb, stupid thing that happened to him and wasn't even cool.
For me, it was a Tuesday.
Or even going to be retold to any of his roommates. He would watch the video 2 years later and press delete after the upvote reference because memes are dumb and I guess everyone should be ashamed that they like them or if they laughed at that joke. Then... So that's my story.
I see what we're going for with this.
Yep, it's just make my friends laugh. The story, the game.
It's awesome. Why? That means I can finally do the buddy cop.
But yeah, it's just an exercise to use it. Maybe use some of our in-universe canon.
Yeah, stretch the imagination.
But yeah, and I've been speaking to a past guest, and Nate, aka Ratjar, wants to get in on this. Ratjar. So for our next Thursday, it's gonna round out the Spooktropia podcast yet. Month of fun, and this'll probably air on the on Halloween, I think, so people can have stories to kind of listen to for that. So I hope you guys enjoy. I don't know if I'll do this as its own separate thing or just tack it on to the end of I'll probably tack it on to the end of the episode. I don't give a shit. But yeah, hope you guys like it, and we'll we'll listen in for Spooktropal story next time on the podcast. All right. Bye. Bye.